Okay, welcome to Ecologic for the month of August, 2026. We're having real warm weather, but it is the month of August. So we're pleased to have with us Cy Brown, an old scouter, and that tonight's subject is scouting. And so, Cy, tell us about your history in scouting.
Well, my interest in scouting was way back. Fortunately, I had some great parents. I had a great mother. When I was 8 years old, she told me we were going to a meeting. And so we got in the car, and she brought me to St. Peter's College to the auditorium, put me in the auditorium there for a Cub Scout meeting. And she said, "You're going to be a Cub Scout." And so, lo and behold, we get in there, we're sitting down on the floor. They didn't have any chairs. So they sat us all down on the floor and told us about Cub Scouting and how great it was and everything. But they said the first thing you're going to do, you're going to learn how to tie a knot. And we're going to teach you about the outdoors. And you're going to get to grow up and be a man. And so here's this 18-inch piece of string, and you can learn how to tie knots with that. So we're going to learn how to tie a square knot to start, then a slip knot was the second knot we learned how to tie. Then they said, okay, now we're going to learn how to tie the bowline. Okay, so we learned how to tie the bowline. Then we said, okay, we're going to teach you how to tie the sheep head knot. So we went through all of the knots and everything, and I almost got a knot on my head after they were telling me, no, you were doing this right, and then you were doing this wrong, and everything else. But it was a great first meeting, and I'll never forget that. And anyhow, so from there, being in the Cub Scouts, Scouting is such a wonderful organization because it is a meritocracy.
Yeah.
And a meritocracy is a basic organization where they teach you how to improve yourself, improve your skills, and also to establish standards of advancement and learning. And so I'm very, very grateful for having grown up in the scouting program because of the meritocracy basis for it and principle, where you're actually, if you're in the program, you're just going to move along. You're going to get taught great things about the outdoors primarily, but about yourself and about high standards and improving general life. And then you're going to learn another couple of really, really good things. And the two really, really good things are basically do a good deed every day. And this is one of the scouting principles. They teach you how to do a good deed every day. And I've lived with that my whole life. I try to do that. And I think it's a really, really good principle to live by. And then the other thing that's critical in the scouting program is your word. W-O-R-D. Your word. Meaning that your word is everything.
That's right.
And if you tell somebody you're going to do something, your word means you're going to do it.
Right.
And so these are the two things that I thought were the most memorable that I took away from the scouting program. But in the course of the whole scouting program was the Eagle Scout program. I mean, you got in, you're a Cub Scout. You go through all of those badges and this meritocracy system, which is, the bear, that's the first thing, and then you become a wolf, and then you become a lion scout, and that's in the Cubs. But then you go into the Boy Scouts, and then you're a tenderfoot to start, and then you're a star, then you're a life, and then if you keep working, you're an eagle.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so everybody is really tuned in and has their sights set and their goal set on that ultimate goal is to be an Eagle Scout.
yeah,
And now, it's not everybody that makes it, but the process of actually even trying to making it and getting into the different levels of advancement and the program, you learn so much. I mean, to be a Star Scout, I mean, you learn a heck of a lot. To qualify for the merit badges that, you have to qualify and pass to be a Star Scout. And the same with life, and then Eagle is the next thing.
yeah. I can remember become a first-class scout. You really had to, you had to, with either semaphore or a the Morse code,
Exactly.
and you had to send a 100-word message and had to receive a 100-word message.
Exactly.
You had to actually make a map of at least 25 acres,
Yeah,
which would have been a couple of city blocks.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And it taught you how to take care of your body, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Stay in shape. Absolutely be healthy and be in physical good shape, which means that, we had to do that 20-mile hike. I mean, that 20-mile hike was something else. And then we had to do that pathfinding, which was they took us in the woods, gave us a compass,
yeah,
and said, okay, they drop you off, you don't know where the hell you are. And all you had was a compass, and you had to find your way out of the woods. So scouting program was so full of things like that you had to learn and get better from. And those are some of the things that I really appreciated about in the scouting program. But also, we had summer camps. We had Thistlethwaite, and I went to Thistlethwaite a couple of years, and you went there to pass some merit badges and do things, learn the outdoors more, and it was a great experience. And then, of course, after that, we had this second scout camp called Mountain Bayou. So first year, I was going to Thistlethwaite. Actually, I was working on my Eagle, and so I was trying to pass life saving. And so anyway, I couldn't pass it. They flunked me. And so anyhow, I had to come back and go back a second year, and I finally passed life saving. And they were actually showing me the wrong way to start with, because I wasn't that good a swimmer to begin with, because you got to be a hell of a swimmer to pass that life saving.
yeah,
But in any case, the second year I had another lifeguard that was teaching me, and he gave me the trick to how to turn around somebody that's drowning and just fighting for his life in the water. I mean, this is the scariest thing in the world, and you got to turn that. There's several ways to save a guy that's drowning in the water.
yeah,
And but the way I like to do it the best was you have to swim around the back of him, and then you get it in where he can't see you to grab a hold of you, and you swim around the back of him, and you underwater swim around the back of him, and then you turn him, and then you grab around his neck, and then you do this what they call a dead man's haul, and you carry him in on his back, and you bring him to shore that way. And anyhow, that's how we pass life saving. But any case, this is one of the things that, we learned in scouting that was really, really good. But in scouting, we also had a lot of fun. We'd go to summer camp and everything. And then the scout program has all of these adventure, what we call high adventure camps. And they have the most famous one is a camp called Philmont. That's up in New Mexico. And everybody is very, very familiar with it, and it's a beautiful place. I was supposed to go there for 2 years, but never made it because, let me tell you, the first year I was supposed to go, 2 weeks before we were to leave to go to Philmont, they called me up and said, no, you're not going to Philmont, you're going to Valley Forge. This is a jamboree in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. And y'all are going to go up there on a train, and we're going to rent you, we're going to get y'all a car. We're going to hook it on a train and bring y'all up to Philadelphia and then to Valley Forge. And so that's going to be your summer. Okay. So here, we got our little troop together that is going, and our scoutmaster for the trip to Valley Forge was a gentleman, wonderful man called Jimmy Delcom from Avery Island.
Yeah.
And he's a great scoutmaster and everything else.
He was a GI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Jimmy Delcom, we had a couple of meetings before, just so everybody could get to know everybody, because they were from all over around this Acadiana. And so I had two of my buddies from New Iberia, a guy named Leon Roy.
Yeah.
He was a lawyer in town.
Yeah. I remember him.
Yeah, and Johnny Harris, who wound up never did being very much, but he was a good scouter. And so Leon and Johnny Harris and I, we got an alligator and we got a little 3-footer from Avery Island, and we got an orange crate, a wooden orange crate, and we put the alligator in a crate, and he was okay there. He couldn't get out. And so we were catching flies to keep him alive, to eat. That's what we were feeding him. And so we got the alligator, we tied a little string around him, around his neck, and then we could let him out the orange crate and let him walk around every now and then. So anyway, we got on the train when we were leaving to go up to Valley Forge. We got on the train, and we got to New Orleans, and that was fine. We got out the train car, walked around and everything, took the alligator out. He was fine. He was okay. And he walked around a little bit. We had him on a string. Everything was fine. So anyway, we got back on the train. We go to Atlanta. So we get to Atlanta, same thing. We get off the train, we get out, we walk around, because we're sleeping on a train. We're sleeping on his car with these chairs, a chair car.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, so we get back on the train in Atlanta, everything's fine, everybody's on. Okay, so we get to Philadelphia. So we're in Philadelphia, we all get off the train again, and we're walking around and everything. We got the alligator out, and man, we get a little crowd out there. And everybody's looking at the alligator, and we're walking him around the train station, and people are talking about him and everything, but the alligator's doing fine. We're walking him, he's getting his exercise. He got to get out that crate for a little while. And so anyhow, so we had the alligator, and then we looked the other way, and then looked back, the alligator was gone. We didn't know where and how he got off the string, but the alligator was gone. So they had all these people in that Philadelphia train station, and they were all wanting to know what happened to the alligator. Well, I guess he got away. So they said, well, we got to report this. So they got on a loudspeaker in the Philadelphia train station announcing that there was a live alligator on the loose in the train station. So that created a little excitement. So anyway, we finally got back on the train, and we got to Valley Forge, and they got off. And so the train told us to go back. Y'all are gonna have to take some other way back. So we had to catch a bus to go back to Lafayette. Yeah, that's a
Never
true.
found the alligator.
Yeah, and we looked for the alligator, but we never found him.
Wow.
But anyhow, the bottom line is that, you know, we had a lot of good experiences. We did a lot of meritocracy in the Boy Scouts, learned a lot, had a heck of a lot of fun, you know, with the other guys and the programs that we had. And we took a lot of trips. And the next summer I was supposed to go to Philmont. 2 weeks before they called me up, they said, no, you're not going to Philmont, you're going to the World Jamboree in Bad Ischl, Austria. And you can be gone for 45 days on this trip to Austria for this World Jamboree. And I said,
So you
whoa.
went to the world?
Yeah. And so we had a hell of a time there. We set back international relations about 20 years, at least, because we were, you know, like scholars. I mean, we were full of pranks and we were playing jokes on people, and I don't think those Europeans understood it too much. But in any case, you know, we had a good time, and we finally got back. We were gone for 45 days, and we went on the ship, this old, what we call a rust bucket. And anyhow, we got back to Hoboken, New Jersey, and we got off the ship at Hoboken, and my mother and my twin sister decided they were going to come up there and get me and drive me back to Louisiana. And so, anyhow, so they come up and get me and everything. And the first thing my mother says, she says, we're going to a store and we're going to take those clothes off your back. I had my scout uniform on for 45 days. She said, we're going to burn it. And they wound up burning my scout uniform. So that was it. That's the end of my stories. Y'all, maybe you want to tell some stories.
Well, yeah, you know, when we learned map and compass, you know, I mean, that opened up the world for us. And Dad had bought a canoe. I think he paid $38 for it.
Yeah.
And we still have it, you know.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Man, well, I had a pirogue. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's pirogue, we actually had it made, and we told them, don't put any nails in the bottom of that damn pirogue. You had to screw the bottom in.
Yeah.
So we screwed it in, and it was solid as a rock. And, but somebody stole it. But I used it for about 5 years, kept it at one of my mother's friend's house on the bayou, and it was great. And that's how we spent our summers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing that, plus going to, you know, the scout camps and doing all the fun stuff. But the big thing is that we were doing it outdoors and learning a lot, you know, about growing up, and it was just different. You know, they say things are different today. Of course, that was before cell phones, way before cell phones. And anyway, but the scouting program is still great because it's this meritocracy, like I was saying, or I don't want to repeat that too much. But in any case, it's built on establishing higher standards for young men and women and girls growing up and understanding that, you know, certain things are more important in life than others. So, and you got to keep improving.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, once we had learned maps and compass, then the world was ours. You know, we had a canoe or two. We had a canoe and a pirogue, and we'd take these long distance canoe trips. You know,
Right.
we put in the bayou right at Pinhook and paddle the intercoastal city.
Right.
You know, 3:30 in the afternoon, and we got to Intercoastal City after paddling all night, at about 6:30,
Yep.
just watching the sunrise.
That's right. So right now, with Swamp Base, we have a similar trip like that for Swamp Base. And it's a trip we put in right at Bayou Catawba,
Yeah,
and then travel down the same way and travel through the basin and spend one night and, different places. And, yeah, but we've had people from 49 of the 50 states there that have come to Swamp Base. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And we hope that it continues to grow and be very successful. We've been working on it for 16 years to get Swamp Base actually started and in operation. And I'm glad to say that it's really, really doing well now. And we have our first building. It's a $14 million project. It's a 4,000 square foot pavilion that extends out into the Atchafalaya Basin.
is it air conditioned?
From, what?
Is it air conditioned?
Not no, but hell no. It is not air conditioned, it is wide open. It's an open pavilion. Now, we got the next building coming up. That's a $14 million project. That's going to be the visitor center and the McGee's store. Now, that will be air conditioned. Yeah, and I'm sorry to be emphatic about no air conditioning, but, we grew up with no air conditioning. It was fine. And so, it was a little bit hot in the summertime, but that's when you jumped in the bayou, or you jumped in the swimming pool, or you cooled off some way, or you got a garden hose and, cooled off there. But in any case, you learned ways to cope with the elements, and you learned how to grow up. And what happens when, you don't have air conditioning? I mean, what are you going to do? You want 68 degrees now? You got to live at 68 degrees everywhere, I mean, sometimes that's not available. Look at Europe right now. Their air conditioners went off. Did you know that? They're making, they're trying to keep it hush-hush out of the news. But in Europe, they have, this green energy thing going crazy.
Yeah.
And so they're relying on all those windmills and all this solar energy and things like that don't always work. And so in any case, now they're short of electricity over there. And there's, for all the tourists going over there, they're trying to keep it quiet, but a lot of places have no air conditioning. And that makes it a little uncomfortable for people that are not used to
Yeah.
no air conditioning. So, anyway,
So we had, it was about, I guess, 11 or 12. We were hunting in back of the airport, and we came upon a crashed plane.
yeah,
And so, wow, how do we find this thing? So we'd ridden our bikes to the Forks,
right,
and then my cousin Kippo, who was a brigadier general in the Air Force, had given us a one-man raft. And
Oh.
so when we got to the Forks on the bikes, we just blew up the raft with our mouth and made it across there. And then we were in back of Lake Charlotte, and it was during the squirrel season, so it was real dry. And we found this crashed plane.
yeah,
And so, man, how do we get back to the plane? So the shortest way out of the swamp was the railroad track,
right,
which is now the Evangeline Thruway. So we took we made about a 100-yard target, you know, because you couldn't see more than 50 feet. Because it was early in the year when we didn't have, you know, the vegetation was still green in the trees, you know.
Right.
So we made a parallel to the railroad track. We took the sheet metal, the heavy sheet metal on the left that we just hung in the trees, and then we put the sheet metal on the right side. So we had a 200-yard target.
Oh, boy.
And then we came out of the woods. We had timed how long it took to came out. We had gotten the reciprocal, you know, compass. If you turn it 180 degrees, it's not always right.
Right.
So when we got as far as we could from the thing, we'd taken a big piece of sheet metal and hung it up in the trees where we could see it from a long ways off, you know. And so we knew what the compass error was.
Right. Boy. And that
Now,
was,
this is, look, we're 12 years old, you know.
yeah.
So,
So and just
so
think,
we came out at the airport and went up to the tower and said, we found that crashed airplane, you know.
yeah.
And so so we leading the sheriff's deputies, the state troopers, you know, back into the woods.
Yeah.
And we went right to it, you know.
How about that? Good for you all.
Yeah.
Well, just think of how far we've come, you know, from that. Now, of course, up at the summit, that's our Scout Jamboree headquarters up in West Virginia. And we have a 1,000-yard range there. And in fact, I gave you that patch there. That's I'm real proud of that range. And we got a 1,000-yard shooting range there, where we have to have computer sights to be able to hit that, because 1,000 yards, I mean, you're going to have wind, you're going to have drop, you're going to have all these elevation problems and everything that will put your bullet off. So without a computer scope, you really can't correct for, you know, all those different factors that you're going to have to pass through to stay on target for the 1,000 yards. And so, but in any case, that's something you can learn in scouting.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, you go up there and you see a lot of the latest techniques and a lot of latest equipment and see a lot of really new things to do.
Yeah, I worked at summer camp, I think 3 or 4 summers, and one summer I was a rifle instructor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, then one summer I ran the handicraft shop, you know, and one of the biggest things we were looking for all the time was the watermelon patches.
Right.
And they had just dredged the bayou, you know, and there was an opening that they had left, and we'd go through the opening, and there was a big old watermelon patch, and they had taken all the watermelons out, but there was some of them that were left, you know. And we go through there one night, and there's a sign that somebody had put there that one of these watermelons has been poisoned.
Oh, God.
So I had all the paint, you know. We erased the one. We put 2.
Oh, wow. Good. You know, we used to do the same thing. We used to look for the watermelon patches in the summertime, and in the wintertime, we used to look for the turnip patches. And we used to eat the turnips out of these farmers' fields. They didn't appreciate that very much. Every now and then, we'd ask them for permission first. But it was watermelons in the summertime and turnips in the wintertime. And we could get by just fine on that.
Yeah.
And then we had our gigs, and we'd catch frogs, and we'd skin those frogs and eat them. And those frog legs are pretty good. Yeah, we always had a little oil in a pot. And so we could at least get by when, our raw turnips or our watermelon, and we could fry those frog legs.
Yeah. I was my own troop, Troop 52. We ran it without the scoutmaster for about a year.
Yeah,
All the Turlings would come by and say, "Where's your scoutmaster?" Oh, they have a big exam where they were, at UL, there were students at UL. Pat Caffrey was one of them.
yeah,
Doc Eagle was another one.
yeah,
But Docky got drafted, and he went to Germany and left us without a scoutmaster,
yeah.
So we ran the troop for about a year without a scoutmaster.
Oh, whoa. Well, that must have been a fun time.
Yeah,
Scoutmaster is usually the guy who keeps everybody out of trouble.
yeah.
Excuse me.
But scouting is, it's probably, I don't think, it's changed a lot. I don't know, the need is certainly there, Boy, they have made some mistakes.
Well, the thing that concerned me is, of course, naturally, you have a family, you have kids, and I have a son, had a son, still have a son, obviously, and I encouraged him to join the Scouts, and he was in the Scouts and everything. Of course, encouraged him to join the football team, did that, he did the baseball team, did that, and everything, and of course, starting off in the baseball season, the first thing was T-ball. And so he was on the T-ball team, and so we go to the first tournament and for T-ball. And this was a great thing, a great experience. We had a lot of fun over there. And at the end of the tournament, unfortunately, we didn't win. But at the end, he comes back to me and he says, "Hey, Dad, look what I got. I got a trophy." I said, "You got a what?" He said, look at this trophy I got." And sure enough, man, it's a little gold trophy that high with a baseball player. And I said, "You won that?" He said, yeah, they gave me that. And so I said, "Really?" And I didn't realize it then. I knew something was wrong, but I think that was the start of that woke thing. This woke thing where everybody gets promoted, no matter what you did. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And some people like that, some people don't. I personally feel that's a problem. And I think, it's encouraging to have high standards and high ideals, but I believe in just one trophy.
Yeah.
The winner.
Yeah. And so that's just one of the things going on. But I don't make the rules,
Well,
obviously.
they started letting girls in. I think that was a big mistake.
Well, we fought that for years. And I was personally at National fighting that. And I tell you what,
They had them in the Explorers, and that's
Yeah.
okay,
but
But
the-
put them in Boy Scouts, that really doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
yeah. Well, the thing is, finally we agreed to have the girls in. And it was agreed upon that we would let the girls in, but only on one condition, that there would be no changes to the scouting program. We could have the girls in, but there is a physical difference between a boy and a girl. Obviously, everybody knows that. And you have a disparity of strength.
Yeah,
And so we said, look, you can let girls in, but we don't want to reduce the standards of the scouting program by changing the standards for merit badges and regulations for advancement to, different ranks.
yeah,
And that is the leadership of the scouts, Rex Tillerson, there were a bunch of them were there, and so forth. And we all voted on it, and they said, no, it's okay, we'll let the girls in, and we'll, absolutely no changes. That's the law and everything. Well, a few years later, we found out that they did make some changes. And they said that, well,
is life saving still required for you?
no, it's not. This is one of my big beefs. You can have some alternate merit badges to substitute for life saving. Yeah. So you don't have to pass life saving to be Eagle Scout.
Wow,
Yeah. How about that?
wow,
Yeah. And so, anyway. But I thought that was the biggest mistake.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I never did let the girls come into my troop,
No.
Although, some of them wanted to come, but, you can really have real problems,
Well, I had,
14 or 15-year-old kids and, they're in the woods and,
yeah,
yeah,
a lot of things can happen there.
yeah, a lot of things can happen,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, I had 4 daughters. I have 5 children totally. I have 4 daughters, and they all wanted to be scouts. They all wanted to be scouts. But hey, if the program didn't allow it, and that's how it was. So what we did is we camped out in the backyard at my house. And we would go out and camp out in the backyard, and they loved it, and so forth. But I said, look, we can build a fire back here, we can enjoy the outdoors here, and we can swat those mosquitoes just as well right here in the backyard.
Yeah.
And so, but, the scouting program is for boys. It's just that way. And they were fine with it, and they did. Those ones that wanted to sleep in the backyard, they slept in the backyard. We got them bedrolls, and, they slept with us in the tents, and, we had set it up. Of course, when we go on the scout trips and everything, we really go camping and everything. But for the girls, we just did that in the backyard because, we had Cokes and things like that for them. They were cold out of the refrigerator, and it was a lot easier. And they liked it a lot better. And but I didn't think that them coming out, when we go camping, it wasn't exactly a palace out there.
Yeah,
There was no refrigerator to get a Coke in.
yeah,
And it wasn't air conditioned either.
yeah, wow,
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun, and there's always a way to do it. But now, of course, Scouting America, they have girls in it, and I was excited to see the girls at the National Jamboree, the last one that I went to. The girls were quite enthusiastic, and, they were having a great time and everything, and they were doing a great job. And in many respects, they were more enthusiastic than the boys. But, they have to change so many things. Like up at the scout camp, we've got a shooting range. And we had, we shot shotguns. And we shot over 1 million shells over 1 million shells every scout camp. And fortunately, Federal would give them to us. We didn't have to buy them, but they were big supporters, and so was Browning, and they gave us shells. But the bottom line is that we shot 12 gauge shells. Now they changed it to shoot a 20 gauge, which, hey, shooting is shooting, but it's not quite the same. And so they've changed a lot of the things about the scouting program for the girls.
Yeah.
The girls said they couldn't shoot a 12. Well, I'm married to a lady. Unfortunately, she's not doing health-wise good right now, but she was the state trap shooting champion for Louisiana and also a lot of other states, and she shot 12s, and you know, that's 100 shells, and she shot 112 gauge shells every match.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the girls can do it if they just get up there and do it,
Yeah.
you know? And it doesn't lower the bar. That's the thing, lowering the standards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And things like that. No life saving, shooting a 20 instead of a 12, which is okay. You know, I personally think it's a shame. But that's the scouting program now.
Wow.
So I don't know if anybody that's listening or watching, whatever is going on, are going to object to some of these things
Yeah.
that we're talking about. I might get kicked out of the Scouts. But they say once you're an Eagle Scout, Harold, you're always an Eagle Scout.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. You see, I got you to back me up.
Yeah.
So when they try to throw me out, I'll say, talk to Harold and
Yeah.
let me back in.
It was really fun running the troop, and I really miss it. You know,
Yeah.
we'd take a trip to Yellowstone and up to Augusta, up to Montana
Oh, yeah.
every year, and there was a 9-day trip,
Yeah.
and we'd camp out the whole way.
Wow. Well, did y'all ever do that Lolo Trail up to Montana? Did y'all ever do that?
What is it?
The Lolo Trail.
No.
That's the Lewis and Clark thing?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, we were up there, and all those streams up there. That's all named by Lewis and Clark.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we would go to the Augusta Battleground,
Right.
and the kids. I guess the kids really, they got a lot out of it.
Yeah. Well,
There was one of my kids was in a college class, and they had 4 or 5 names up there. He was in a history class, and Marcus Reno was one of them. And
All right.
Marcus Reno was the guy that was second in command with Custer. He had the sense to save his troops, And with Marcus Reno, my scout raised his hand as Marcus Reno. He told the story, and he was court-martialed. He was blamed for the demise of Custis.
oh, really?
Yeah, but anyway, he was exonerated from the court-martial. Didn't find him guilty. But anyway, he was he told his troops if we have to retreat, cross the coulee and go up the gully, up to the hill, and there was a bowl up in one of the hills.
No
And
kidding.
he got in that bowl. And you know, then Captain Bantine came to meet him. And so anyway, they fought the Indians for 2 days, and the second day they were out of water. So they got about 10 or 12 volunteers
Right.
to go crawl down and go to the river, you know.
Yeah.
And they all got the Congressional Medal of Honor,
How about
all
that?
12 of them, you know.
Ah, awesome.
But the scouts, you know, history is real boring until you're actually looking at where it happened.
Yep.
And
Well, you know, talking about scouting and adventures and everything, I mean, this is an interesting thing too. The fact that, you know, when Thomas Jefferson bought Louisiana and he bought the West, nobody had even been out there. And so that's the story of that Lewis and Clark expedition. Thomas Jefferson he commissioned and paid for Lewis and Clark to go up that low trail to get to the Pacific to see what Thomas Jefferson bought. And that's the story of that. But people today, you know, when you see these decisions, Washington and the people in government are trying to make decisions over, and what people back in the day, you know, when Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and all those people were living, I mean, the difference in what those decisions involved were so different. Obviously, time changes everything.
Yeah.
But in any case, I think a lot of people could benefit from reading a little history and seeing things that have been done in the past historically to get to where we are today.
yeah. You know, we'd go over Beartooth Pass, and that's exactly where Lewis and Clark went over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
There's a big igneous dike up there, and the scouts could go and look at the black obsidian rock,
Right,
and then the cooling zone has the crystalline rock,
right.
and so the scouts actually experienced that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then after that came the railroad.
yeah,
And all of those big, beautiful hotels, the railroad companies built while they were, you know, to have a place for the workers that built the railroad to stay. They built these huge hotels that a lot of them are still standing today.
yeah,
And they are, you know, just monuments to history.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But,
But we would go, we would camp at Fort Robinson, you know, that's in the northwest corner
yeah,
of Nebraska. And then we'd go to Crazy Horse and then what's the other big, the big monument that's right next to Crazy Horse,
right.
Mount Rushmore.
Rushmore, yeah. So, but anyway, my scouts, and I look back over what we did, you know, we went through 13 or 14 states, and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
we did that every year.
That is awesome. Well, you did some
And then
wonderful
we'd
things.
come back through Philmont, we'd spend a day at Philmont, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, Harold, you're legendary in Lafayette and in Louisiana and in scouting as a whole for what you have done over the years, the record that you have as a scout master, and the accomplishments that are very well documented and very well known and appreciated. And so we have a few little things to work out now, and hopefully everybody can get on the same page with certain things. but the scouting program is absolutely wonderful, and every organization goes through tough times.
Yeah,
And, we always had the idea that, well, everything is about working hard and playing hard. And you're gonna work hard, you're gonna get better, and then you're gonna have a lot of fun in the process. But over the years, there are gonna be some tough times.
Yeah.
And you just gotta stick with it and get through it, and then get back on track.
yeah, yeah,
So that's as much as I can say.
yeah.
Yeah,
But, like winter camp, we went to winter camp at Lake Charles. And, because the troop in Abbeville was going there,
yeah,
So we went there with them, And that brought winter camp to Mountain Bayou, Because winter camp was one of those things, it was just a merit badge meal,
right.
But you could,
Yeah,
Yeah.
get a lot of advancement there, and, yeah. So, merit badges were so important, and to have people that were available to teach you what you needed to learn to pass the merit badge was so critically important. And, the idea of the advancement program that went with it was critical to the scouting program, and still is.
yeah, yeah,
So it's a wonderful thing, and I think the scouting program I was very proud to be in 3 organizations in my life, and many organizations, as a matter of fact, but the 3 that I liked the best was the scouting program, the U.S. Navy, and the company that I worked for over the years and made Louisiana hot sauce. But we had a great esprit de corps. We had a lot of fun, and we worked like hell.
yeah,
And, it was a good experience, but that is what happens when you set the bar high. And you know that you've got to work towards achieving something. And you're not going to take no for an answer.
yeah. I was on a Board of Education in the Air Force, and we set up the first, I think, the first program that dealt with children who weren't not performing,
Right.
and the teacher had to have a master's degree and no more than 5 pupils in the class, and but they tested the children, and one of the tests they would put the parents through psychological testing.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a boy that was not performing. He was about in the 5th grade. He was making all F's, not performing. And so they tested him, and his IQ was 160.
Wow.
And his sister, who was the smart one in the family, his dad was a TAC pilot, so his dad was always gone, So essentially, the mama was raising the 2 kids. The mama was convinced that Susie was the bright one, and Johnny was the dumb one. And of course, if you think the kid is dumb, he's going to be dumb.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how the kids can sense what your feeling is, and towards them,
Yeah.
And if you think they can, they can.
Yeah.
If they think they can't, they can't, they won't.
Yeah.
And so the 125 boys I had made legal, they met that with a real positive attitude from me.
Right. That's a good way to put it. That's so important.
Yeah.
That's absolutely essential. You
Yeah.
gotta really believe in yourself.
Yeah, that's right, that's
Yeah,
right.
gotta have that confidence.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're about out of time. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sharon,
for
for all
having
your
me.
scouting experience.
It's an honor to be with you, Harold. Again, hats off to you for all that you have done.
Yeah.
And to your wonderful wife, Sarah, and what she's done, because I tell my wife she's the better half of me. And by far the better half. And so I know that you all are so supportive, and that is the wives, and you sacrifice a lot while we're off on camping trips and doing things that take us away. And so, but thank you all for so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
10 seconds, Sarah. 8,
I think that's
5
it.
seconds.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people complaining already.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah,